I just wanted to return back to this, to try and make a link between that Jataka story, because it's actually kind of interesting to look at what happened, and I don't want to say the wrong thing here. Please don't, I'm kind of ignorant about this all. I don't pay too much attention to Tibet, but the one good thing that you have to admit has come of it all is a huge interest in Buddhism as a result of people's social conscience and sense of social justice in regards to Tibet. I think probably inarguable, not, you can't argue that the fact that the Dalai Lama was forced to leave his home country has is really the only reason, or the biggest reason why the Dalai Lama is now so popular and incredibly popular. And so everyone, we have a bit of a problem because everyone, when I went to Canada, for example, people ask me, when's the Dalai Lama coming to town? Do you know when the Dalai Lama is coming, or is the Dalai Lama, or something like that? Like, oh no, I don't really know much about the Dalai Lama. And they're kind of confused. But aren't you a Buddhist monk? So, but in general, that's a wonderful thing, that it's meant that people have come to hear more about the teachings. And I think this relates to some point, it's not the only point, but some point that we shouldn't miss, is that we don't have to hold on to preserve Buddhism. And so there's another example is here in Sri Lanka. The government is now very happy that they were able to do away with or end the civil war, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. And always, we should never lose sight of the fact that the most important is that we stick to Buddhist principles. Because, well, if our most important goal is the preservation of Buddhism, or the preservation really of enlightenment, what are our real goals and our real concerns? What is really important to us? Is it our territory, our land, or is it our minds and our goodness? Because really, with the extreme hardship, I guess, that the Tibetan people have undergone, what you have to admit is that it hasn't stopped the practice of Tibetan Buddhism in the world. It may have weakened it, or in some cases weakened the intensity of it. But now the number of people who are interested in and are sincerely studying these teachings has certainly actually multiplied. But what you can say is that it hasn't decreased. So the point being that, as Palignani said, but I think for another reason we have to be careful, not only because of our defilements, but because of our misunderstanding of what's important, or our clinging to social justice as opposed to righteousness. So for example, in Burma there were these revolutions, and the monks actually got involved, and so they called it the Saffron Revolution, and it just wound up getting a whole bunch of monks killed. But I voiced opposition to it, because regardless, people were saying, oh yeah, you can say it's no good, but what if you were in Burma? But really the opposite holds true. Everyone's encouraging these monks to go out and get involved in politics and so on, when it really smacks of a lack of understanding or even trust in the laws of karma and the laws of goodness. If you think, but we have to get angry, we have to fight, otherwise we'll lose this or that, or we'll continue to suffer. It really is a misunderstanding of the first thing that the Buddha taught, the first teaching that we hear from the Buddha in the Dhammapada, Manopubangama Dhamma, the mind comes first. If we act or speak with an unwholesome mind, suffering comes. And the actions of people in these various situations seems to belie a misunderstanding, or a lack of appreciation for this teaching.
I would like to just say that if a monk or a female monk wants to get involved in politics, then they should take their robes off before they do that. That's my personal opinion about it. Because we have, by definition, our job is to try to become enlightened. And we should not even talk. The Buddha called this talk about territories, talk about wars, talk about kings and so on. He called it animal talk. And it is not behooving, it's not good for a monk to talk about that even. So, and I think for a lay person it might be different, but still it's due to the defilements.
Yeah, we should never criticize or attack. But that's really as a monastic. I don't think this person who's asking is a monastic, so I don't want to get into too much. But yeah, as you say, what we should stick to is what's really the answer to this question is wholesome and unwholesome mind states. And if someone brings to us an example, then we analyze it from that point of view instead of saying, oh, that person's a communist or that person's a capitalist or so on and so on. We should say, well, are they doing good deeds or are they doing bad deeds? Are they helping themselves and helping others, or are they hurting themselves and hurting others? And we go from there. Don't cling to it. You want to be free from suffering. I mean, we're going all around this question, not really answering it directly, but the other thing is the realization that none of this is really important, and in the end, the earth is going to go hurtling into the sun, or I think it's going to burn up before it gets to the sun, I'm not sure. Or the sun's going to explode first or something like that. So it really, none of it makes any difference. We've done this so many times that it's enough to kind of get bored of it. And by so many times, I mean the earth has gone hurtling into the sun so many times in the round, in the infinity of existence, that it's really, time to give it up.
The last thing that I want to add, and you mentioned it a little bit, is the closest answer to the question is we should always do what is beneficial for ourselves and for others, or for both.